This week on Maker Update, a simulator for RC planes, a Scomp Link shoebox, budget calipers, and making art from Colin's tunnel dirt. Hello and welcome back to Maker Update, the show where we keep you up to date on all the cool things that makers are making. I'm Tyler Weingartner and I hope you're all doing great. We've got a wonderful show for you, so let's check out the project of the week. I was blown away by this motion simulator platform for flying RC planes created by Rechtin. This is a motion actuated flight chair with its own throttle and stick controls for flying an FPV RC plane. As the plane is in flight, it transmits its own telemetry down to the base station, which then turns the information into movement of the chair. The pilot of the RC plane is also wearing FPV goggles, so they get the sense that they're actually in the plane they're flying. The structure of the chair is built from high-grade plywood, and it's glued and screwed together since he doesn't see much need to take it apart again. The base also serves as the mounting points for the actuators. There are some really beefy NEMA 23 stepper motors that are closed loop, so they know where they are in the rotation. And they have a significant gear reduction too. Plenty of oomph for the job they've got to do. Most of the weight of the chair rests on this universal joint, which makes the work of the actuators easier. The flight controls are also built directly into the chair, and they're completely custom. They're 3D printed on his large format SLA printer and send their signals directly to the flight controller transmitter as a trainer signal. This also means that someone can override the controls using the flight transmitter if necessary. The whole system was built so he could show it off at Flight Fest, Flight Test's own community gathering of UAS enthusiasts. In preparation for the event, he also created a direct control mode, so the chair would move in response to the user input without the RC plane in flight. That way, folks could get a feel for how it was going to react before they were at the controls of the aircraft. Overall, the project and the demo were a great success, and he's got a few ideas of other RC vehicles he could adapt it to. More projects. Brunger Builds has made this Star Wars themed shoebox with a Droid Scomp Link interface. One of the craziest things about this project is that nearly every element in the design came from a free download on Thingiverse. Only the mechanical mechanism of the Scomp Link interface was a paid part, since he really wanted the counter-rotating elements present, and even that was only $12. But there's also a bunch of great tips on finishing prints for prop level work. He's using a plastic welder to join the parts together into a permanent bond, and using a combination of filler foam and wood filler to hide the seams. He's also got a good looking technique for getting a proper metallic look out of your 3D printed parts. In his finishing process, he also used a coat of chipping medium, which allows the top coat of paint to be chipped away, revealing the base layers. He finishes off the project by creating this faux leather look for the interior. Tons of great stuff here. From BambuStudio, he's got a video about his DIY SDR Cyberdeck using the Clockwork U console. This is a sort of ready-made portable computer based around the Raspberry Pi compute module. Through a bit of reverse engineering, he was able to determine which contact pads would create a USB interface, and he was off to the races. The USB interface was necessary to add his SDR module. It's a fun watch and a great hack, especially since he didn't have to modify the housing of the original component. And finally, Spagnola is creating a sculpture from the dirt extracted from Colin Furze's secret tunnel project. If you haven't checked in on his channel in a while, he's been building an underground tunnel connecting his house to his workshop. And on a recent visit, Ali collected the soil to try and make something from it. To do this, she's using a technique called processing wild clay. She's got to add just the right amount of moisture to turn it into a workable medium. It's cool to see the process of taking dirt from the ground and turning it into sculptural clay. This is the first episode of a multi-part video that ends with her sculpting the clay and hollowing out the figure so it won't explode in the kiln. Keep an eye on our channel if you want to see how this turns out. time for some tips and tools. Laura Kampf has a great video about how she organizes her shops that she's learned after building out several of them over the years. Her organizational strategy can be broken down into 6 simple rules: collecting, curating, scalable systems, color coding. There's a ton of great info here about building a functioning shop where you can find what you need when you need it. In order to design his maker chip for this year's open source, Zach Friedman decided to create it without using a single piece of CAD software, just BambuStudio. He's able to do this because you can spawn in various primitives in BambuStudio for printing, and then use those basic shapes to add and subtract others in Boolean operations. He used this technique to create a representation of his mascot Quagsire around the rim of the chip, then add his logo and a QR code on the back. What's great is that BambuStudio is directly derived from Prusa Slicer, so you should be able to use this technique in lots of other 3D printing slicers. Vector 3D has a video where they reviewed 20 different calipers purchased for under $40. It would be nice if we could use nothing but Mitutoyos, but we're hobbyists and most of us are on a budget. So it's helpful to know where to find the good stuff without breaking the bank. He ends up giving them some cheeky names for the test and even cheekier awards. But there's some good recommendations here as well, like some that delivered way better than their advertised results. Check it out. And finally, from Shake the Future, we have a new method of metal casting from 3D prints. And it makes use of the least likely shop tool that probably isn't even in your shop: a microwave. The process begins with 3D printing your object and mold box, and then pouring the investment plaster into the box while it's still on your print bed. There's even a G-code routine to shake out the bubbles. He then places the whole thing in his microwave to soften the plastic for removal. The mold then spends some time in an air fryer for drying, and he also has a crucible that he can use to melt metals in his microwave. He's got a separate video about that. It's a cool technique and will probably give you some new thoughts on what you can do with that microwave you saw on the side of the road. For this week's DigiKey Spotlight, they've got a video showing how to create custom symbols in Scheme-It, which is a free online tool for drawing schematics hosted by DigiKey. Not only do you get access to their complete library of components that you can include in your design, but it will also build a BOM for you as you go. Plus, the video is a great tutorial on how to build symbols for the components that don't provide one for you. Check it out. Alright, and that is going to do it for this week's show. Remember, you can find out more about every single one of these projects by checking out the links down in the description. While you're there, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and hit subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Big thanks to DigiKey for making this show possible, and to you for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.